Hello everybody, welcome back to another wonderful episode of Chaos Head Noah. Well, last time was actually quite interesting. We got a lot of background info on a lot of the events going through the game, just kind of what Rimi had been up to and how she was going about it, how she got inserted into the third new gen killing, which I actually found pretty interesting. That was kind of cool, because there was always a kind of a question mark around why is she even there in the first place? What did she have to do with anything? And now we know she was just being a meddler and got caught up in it. But it was interesting to see how she inserted herself into the class and how Shogun edited the logs after the fact to look like they happened on different days. Less so that Rimi went in and got Nanami's hand, but at least now we know where it went and what the idea was. But we're done with the vignettes, and now we officially start on the ending proper. We're into the new material that's going to take us to the end of the Rimi route, starting now. So strap in, let's see what's going to happen. Enjoy. And we are back. Boy, we went far, and by far, I mean, we went farther than we've been in a while. We visited Ayase in the hospital. Nothing came of the towel. The towel was still there, but it wasn't elaborated on. Let's see. Rimi was there when we found out about the DQN puzzle, which is something that hasn't happened in most of these routes. And we've gone all the way to finishing our little hospital visit. Rimi getting slapped, us seeing the towel and the black wall and the scribble by Hazuki, and getting all the way home and getting attacked by Senna. And of course, Kazue is here as well. There's been an initial assault, but now it looks like we've switched to Rimi's point of view. Aoi-san. We haven't heard Senna referred to as Aoi-san in a while. Aoi-san's eyes shot wide open at the sight of my D-sword, as they probably would. Her blow had been fairly quick, but stopping it had been hardly any trouble. Speaking of D-swords, I can't remember if I mentioned this, but Rimi said she had to manifest her D-sword to dilute it to kind of brainwash the people in her class, make that mutual recognition suggestion of knowing them. She didn't have to bring it up when she was trying that trick on Takumi, or at least I imagine she must not have, because he would have seen it, because he can see these things. So, I don't know. Plot hole game, plot hole. Our D-swords resonated with one another, releasing a shrill cry that enveloped the two of us. Is this going to play out differently? Are we still going to push Senna off a rooftop? I could feel Aoi Senna's negative emotions, her fury or hatred, coming forth through her D-sword. And Kazubi is just enjoying it. It's like, wow, I get to see other people fight for a change. Wowie zowie! Sakihara-san was also a gigalomaniac. How come you screw up words like was, but you can say gigalomaniac? Also news to Taku. Behind me, Taku sank to the floor in shock. In that state, it would be impossible to get him to escape at this point. So I had no choice but to deal with Aoi-san somehow. Do you know what exactly he did? Oh, better than you think. The IR2 formula. I'm fully aware. I cut Aoi-san short. I didn't want Taku to even hear its name. Fine then, if you force Taku to awaken, this will end in an even bigger disaster. Then I'll kill him before that. Even if you try, you will never be able to. Aoi-san was incredibly aggressive, but she fundamentally misunderstood how a D-sword should have been used. Oh, yes, please, do elaborate on this for Psy'Min. Her attacks were far too straightforward, far too impulsive. Treating her sword as just a simple sword would translate only to a little kid swinging around a tree branch. She is pretty good, but Rimi's got that delusion power, which is why she wins this fight. There was a distinct difference between someone who had been properly instructed on how to wield it and an ordinary high school girl. And who instructed you exactly? Dealing with her would be child's play. Nishiju has to die. He brought a goddamn calamity in this world. Aoi-san had been consumed by hatred. Her negative delusions were clearly visible to me. Pouring out from within her, they transformed into a hulking black miasma and forcibly pierced into my dead spots. So she's this kind of ties into what Ayase was talking about, where people see the world differently. Rimi can see the miasmas that Ayase can see, I guess. Aoi-san couldn't have been doing it consciously. However, they wouldn't normally be visible to just anyone she faced. This was a characteristic unique to Gigalomaniacs. When facing another human, it was possible to make that surge of emotions visible. And with that, you could lay all their emotions bare. I focused my attention on the images that were forcefully being projected into and eroding my mind. The emotions that fueled Ayase-san's hatred, her memories, so this is why we were able to manifest her dad. Yeah, this. I could see them. Her pain, her sorrow. Her memories of the past that tormented her. And using those memories, I glared at Aoi-san and formed a delusion. I fabricated a fictitious scene that would twist the knife in her wounds. And it worked a charm. A shudder ran through her body. Slowly lowering her sword, she then froze completely. Her expression showed she was clearly shaken. Is it the same one we saw before or a new one? Her eyes were empty. She was no longer looking at me, nor reality. She was now inside the delusion that I had fabricated. But I had just given her a cue. The rest of the story was of her own making, guided by her own obsession. And now, Aoi-san could no longer fight. Now! Hey, don't make us do this to you, too. I jumped. I could feel a voice reverberating within my mind. Yeah, I don't think Rimi's used to this. What will Sakihara-san do now that she's made a messy mess out of Senna-san's head? Are you gonna kill her? Are you? I looked over toward the container house. Ifsies? If you say you're gonna kill Senna-san. A sword of many facets. An overwhelming sense of corrosive misfortune. A pure unadulterated savagery and a destructive nobility. It was Orihara-san's D-sword. Then Kazupi's gonna add Sakihara-san to the baddie list. Oh, you don't want to be on the baddie list. That's not. Don't get on that list. That's worse than Chris Pratt's list. Don't get on that list. As for what happens to people on the list, they receive an immediate bisection. Upon lifting her D-sword high up in the air, Orihara-san smiled cheerfully at me. I'm not sure cheerful is the word for that smile. Kazupi kills them all. What? No. No, Taku, don't tell Kazupi to kill everyone. We've been down that route. It's not a pretty route. All of a sudden, Taku raised his voice to a shriek. Both Senna and Kazupi are our enemies. They were our enemies all along. That's why you gotta kill them, Rimi. Okay, number one, we're not gonna do that. Number two, Kazupi, just ignore that. I don't want to die. Taku, just be quiet for a minute. Well, Taku, you had to go and open your big mouth, and now Kazupi's gonna take that as a yes. Added to the list, and +2. Damn it. Well, we're dead. Orihara-san's twisted her lips into a smile. Kazupi'll kill you both, Z's. She is just too happy. Too happy when she does that. It came like a storm. The sheer speed at which she charged at me was simply inhuman. I was taken by surprise, yeah. Orihara is something else. Orihara-san's D-sword came down on me like a stake being pounded into the earth. No, that's Ayase. I immediately jumped back, but the impact was so strong I was blown back away. I somehow managed to land on my feet. It's a heavy sword. Next came a horizontal swing. I tried to deflect it with my sword, but I failed. I ended up taking the blow head on. My arms went completely numb. Taku, this is your fault. Aha! Die! Die! Orihara-san charged at me with unbelievable strength. I had no room to counterattack. How is she so adept at fighting? Because she is well practiced. Despite her small frame, Orihara-san swung her giant D-sword around with no issue at all. Rimi, I thought you said that people that swung their swords around were like kids with twigs. Come on. Her footwork was wild and unsteady. Each step she took was incredibly unstable. Her feet were barely touching the ground. Rather than she being the one swinging the sword, it almost felt as if the sword was swinging her. Sakihara-san and Takumi-san were both baddies after all. So, Kazubi'll kill you both. I won't let you kill Taku. As I desperately deflected Orihara-san's blows, just as I had done before with Senna, I focused on the negative emotions pouring out from within her. Well, you're going to see a bunch of mirrors in a second. The image that appeared in the back of my mind was a mirror, exactly. Wasting no time, I sent that delusion into Orihara-san's dead spots. Orihara-san's movements came to a sudden halt. Tears began to pour from her eyes. I let out a sigh of relief. I had to get Taku out of here while I still could, and that was when I noticed. I couldn't see Aoi-san anywhere. I looked all around the rooftop and saw her standing at the very edge of it. Well, Aoi-san... I frantically took off running, but before I could reach her, her body slowly drifted forward, and then, well, that went differently than before. She disappeared. Over the edge. Well, we were able to prevent that last time, but we were preoccupied by, Kazue. Oops. Huh? The sound of something crashing into the ground. The sound of something smashing against the earth. I heard it faintly in the distance. Had she died? I'm going to say yes. Had Aoi-san died? Because of that delusion I'd shown her? Well, there's more guilt for you. No, I didn't mean to... Was that a Kazui? Oh, she got diluted back up. A fierce blast of wind came from behind me. The impact was tremendous. It felt like I'd been hit by a truck. Never mind. Kazubi's getting her revenge. Which means you are extremely dead, considering the last time you got hit by that. I felt my brain being shaken around inside my skull. Unable to brace myself beforehand, I was sent flying. I hit the ground hard, and a sharp pain shot through my entire body. I hadn't been cut in any way, but I had taken an extremely hard blow from her fiendish D-sword. My vision was intensely blurry. I tried to get up, but I couldn't feel my legs. I couldn't tell who I was anymore. I might have suffered a light concussion. I tried desperately to look up. Okay, so is she still stuck in her delusion, which means that was someone else? Kazui is just, who am I, who am I, who am I, who am I, who am I? Orihara-san was staggering around, cradling her head in her hands. She violently shook it from side to side. Had the delusion I'd shown her made her lose sight of who she was? Who am I? Who am I? Well, that's what happens when you do that, Rimi. She was moving toward Taku. She was gonna kill him. I'm not sure she's interested in killing anymore. Why didn't you run away? Why are you still here? Because he's a bitch. I had to help him. I closed my fists. But my D-sword wasn't in my hand. I had accidentally let it go of it when I'd been hit by the blast earlier. It was lying on the ground a short distance away from me. Well, never mind. Kazubi has just lost her mind and the sword is in control now. Die, 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 die! Help me! This is your fault, Taku. Taku was crying out for help. I had to save him. I won't let anyone kill him. But I'm too far away. I won't make it. Orihara-san had already raised her D-sword. Taku would die in an instant. He had sunk to his knees and could no longer move. In less than a second, he would literally be crushed by her D-sword. I have to save him. No matter what I do, I won't make it. Time for a Taku-style delusion? Numerous voices surged within me. My thoughts grew erratic. Countless me's pierced me with their gazes from inside my head. Countless me's whispered with their mouths. The whispers continued to cascade, pooling together into a violent flood of voices, each one gnawing away at any and all reason I had. I desperately stood up, but I couldn't do any more than that. I won't make it. I won't let you kill him! I gritted my teeth. Taku is going to die. Don't think that. I don't need that delusion to come up. Kill her. Kill Orihara Kozue. If I can protect him, then nothing else matters. No, it's not like that. Oh, she's starting to lose herself. Kill her. Wouldn't it be better if Taku died here? Also that. I mean, we want Taku to be erased, technically. Kill Orihara Kozue. Kill Nishiji Takumi. That's the width of both Sakihara Rimi and Taku, isn't it? You're wrong. You're wrong. Taku. Oh, this seems a lot longer than half a second. Before I knew it, the D-sword was in my hands. It was supposed to be on the ground, yet I was holding it. Oh! Okay, well done, but who? I felt the sensation of gouging flesh. And it might have been yours. I didn't know how I'd close the distance between me and Orihara. Oh, never mind. But when I looked, I saw that the D-sword I'd been holding in my hands had sunk deep into her delicate back. Well, this is what you get for interfering, Rimi. I was resisting against a will of some kind. I had no intention of killing her. Or was this really my own will, my true nature? Orihara-san looked back at me with an empty expression on her face. Sakihara-san? Yeah, but you were going to kill us. Well, I guess she's back to being nice, Kozue, now. It hurts, yeah. Swords in the back will do that. This is wrong. I don't want to kill her. If I don't stop, she'll... My D-sword wriggled and squirmed. As if it had a will of its own, it trembled with the joy of taking a life, the delight of bathing in blood. I frantically shook my head in denial. My D-sword's wings, its fangs, creaked loudly as they bored into Orihara-san's back. Even now it was trying to gnaw into and tear her apart. Stop! I said stop! I tried pulling it out, but I couldn't. I couldn't move. I couldn't even let go of my sword. Orihara-san coughed up blood, and when it landed on my sword, dyeing it red... Stop! That's not the sound of stopping. As if it were a pair of wings spreading. Oh, goodness. You stabbed Kozue with scissors, then opened the scissors. It twisted itself deep in Orihara-san's body and tore her apart. Welp! That is unfortunate. Blood burst into the air. And the petite girl who had been alive just a second ago transformed into nothing but mere lumps of flesh. Crimson, illusionary feathers poured down around me. No! I didn't wish for any of this. You hopeless meddler. Seeking desperately for someone to save me, I looked around. Taku was staring at me as if he'd seen a monster. I didn't mean to kill them. Technically, Taku wanted you to do that, so he can't be that disgusted. I didn't mean to kill them at all, but I killed them anyway. Well, we're just in our crate like nothing happened. Both Senna and Kazupi were dead. They died right before my very eyes, and Rimi had been the one to kill them. Right now, she was lying down on the sofa, sleeping. After Kazupi had died, she'd started trembling, let out a scream, then immediately lost consciousness. I hadn't even been able to stand up for a while from the shock. I'd been scared shitless. My fear had been building and building, and eventually I couldn't stand to look at Kazupi's bloody corpse any longer, so I got up, carried Rimi to my room, and shut us in. She would occasionally let out a pained moan, but no matter how many times I called her name, she wouldn't regain consciousness. So I just sat there, hugging my knees, and waiting for Rimi to wake up. There wasn't much I could do about my trembling. Stare at your Saratan for a while. Senna and Kazupi had just died, after all. Unlike the new-gen victims, they were far from being complete strangers. I knew them, talked to them, spent time with them. Just yesterday, the three of us had eaten Crunchy Coons together. Senna, Kazupi, and I. When I saw that photo with the three of us in it, I bit my lip. Oh, that photo's got a sting now. Yeah. I wondered what the point of that photo was going to be. It didn't matter how much I wanted to forget it. That scene ripped straight from a nightmare played again and again in the back of my mind. Kazupi's vivid crimson blood, the slimy, sickly texture of the glistening bones sticking out from her body, her emotionless eyes that had lost all light, and the indescribable fear and sickness I'd felt in the moment where I saw another person cease to be a person. The moment when her slender body had been ripped apart, had been burned into my retinas. In that moment, I had learned how frail people truly were. I felt like I was about to throw up, and if I did end up doing so, that would make it the fourth time I'd puked. What had ended up happening to Senna? This was an 8-story building. Having fallen all the way from the roof, there was no way she'd make it out unscathed. She'd definitely died. Yeah, we haven't actually confirmed that. I'm going to assume she's dead, but what if she's not? The two of them were both dead. I couldn't believe it. It couldn't be real. It had to have been a dream. A nightmare. Yeah, that was the only explanation. Dying in such a horrific way. And if that wasn't already enough, it was Rimi who had killed them. Hey, you begged her to. I didn't want to believe it. There was no way I could, but it was the truth. I didn't understand why Senna and Kazupi had suddenly turned hostile and tried to attack me. She had said something about IR2. It probably had something to do with my essay from back when I was a kid, but I couldn't care less about that now. After that, Rimi had been revealed to be a gigalomaniac, something that honestly hadn't surprised me too much. But then she fought to protect me. She might have gone too far, sure, but there was no way I was going to hold a grudge over that. Still, if things stayed like this, both Rimi and I would get caught by the police. Senna and Kazupi's corpses were just lying around out there. Eventually someone would find them and notify the police. Well, especially Senna's. It's on the friggin' sidewalk. I couldn't get caught. As if I'd ever let that happen. I could just tell the truth. I hadn't killed anyone after all. Rimi had, and besides, Senna and Kazupi had attacked me first, so that had to count legally as self-defense. But I was well aware that none of that would work. Back when the crucifixion had happened, I'd almost been named the culprit. There was no doubt in my mind that it would go exact same way this time. Moreover, I needed Rimi. If she didn't exist, if she wasn't here to protect me from the threat of Shogun, I would be completely fucked. It's more like Shogun is trying to protect you from her. So when I'd learned the truth that she was a gigalomaniac, I hadn't been horrified. If anything, I'd welcomed it. She wasn't powerless. She wasn't just a naive high schooler. She was my ally, one who even wielded the power to protect me from Shogun. That was why I wanted her to wake up so badly, and sooner rather than later. I'd get her to erase Senna and Kazupi's corpses with her delusion powers. And once she did that, the police would no longer be able to get us. Nobody had found the bodies yet, right? I mean, if they find Senna's body, that's going to lead them to the roof, and they're going to find Kazupi, and that one's going to raise way more questions. Holding back my urge to throw up, I looked at the door. Kazupi's bloody corpse was just outside, and therefore unlikely to be found. But Senna's wasn't. Senna had fallen off the roof, meaning someone could easily stumble upon what was left of her. Exactly. It'd be the end if that happened. Seeing how Rimi wasn't waking up, I'd have to cover up their bodies somehow. How has someone not already seen Senna jump, considering we're in the middle of Tokyo? This is Shibuya, for crying out loud. Like 5 closed-caption TV cameras caught her doing it. Just the mere prospect terrified me. I didn't want to even look at someone's corpse. And that wasn't even mentioning the fact that I knew them, which made it so much worse. Even so, I desperately shook away my fears. And then I went outside. I had to ensure my and Rimi's safety. Watch, they're already gone. Shogun took care of it. It was already dark out, leaving my surroundings very dim. I didn't even have the moon to help. The clouds were hiding it. Straining my eyes, I looked over to where Kazubi was lying. It's gone? Huh? But I couldn't find it. I couldn't find Kazubi's tragic corpse. There was still a pool of blood, so I couldn't laugh it off as it was all just a dream plot twist, but her corpse was completely gone. Well, that is unfortunate. If her corpse is gone but the blood isn't, then it wasn't delusioned away. Did someone come and get it? What the... Starting to get really confused, I stuck my head over the edge of the roof and peered down at the street below. There was no one there. And Senna's corpse wasn't there either. There was clearly something down there, something I immediately understood to be a pool of blood, but that was it. No people, no corpse, nobody freaking out. Nobody. Where had her corpse gone? The corpse had definitely been there after Rimi had lost consciousness, so Rimi couldn't have erased her with her gigalomaniac powers, but then who could have... Ayase? No, she was still hospitalized in Yoyogi. Watch, Suwa came by just to collect their code. It's like, you guys have only been dead a little while. I can still do it. Then Shogun? But he was my enemy. There was no way he'd ever do something that would have benefited me. What the hell was going on? Feeling both vaguely anxious and incredibly relieved about the corpses disappearing, I let out a deep sigh. You know, it just occurred to me that scene we saw with Hazuki looking over the chat logs and Suwa saying that's him, they were probably talking about Shogun, not Takumi, which would make sense because Grim had been talking with Takumi for a while at that point. And that's probably why Suwa chose to impersonate Shogun. Because they were aware of that chat log and they were like, oh, well, I'm going to pretend to be the other Takumi and do this stuff. And that's why he knew to use that name and the wheelchair and all that stuff. Then I felt chills on the nape of my neck. I was being watched. It was the usual mysterious gaze. Shogun, is that you watching me? Don't look at me. I ducked into my room. Huh? Hey, Rimi. Oh. Rimi had gotten up. She was looking around the room with a vacant expression on her face. I'm not liking that look. Guess she'd finally woken up, but what should I say to her? Killing Senna and Kazubi had been a pretty extreme shock to her. Then again, that was bound to happen if you killed someone. It wasn't like PKing in ESO. She also said she didn't mean to, and I'm sure that only made it worse. She's going to start going Kazubi on us. Killing too many people. I mean, it was only 2 compared to Kazubi's bloodbath, but still. I didn't know what to say at a time like this, so in the end I couldn't help but say nothing. Rimi looked at me, then tilted her head curiously. Where am I? Where's this? Huh? Who are you? What? Don't give me this amnesia crap. We've already done this. Rimi was acting strange. Rimi? Oh! Rimi, what's wrong? Wait a minute. Is this a new personality? Because we've had that happen. We know Rimi's backstory with the infinite sea of Rimis and the spotlight and all that other stuff. And one Rimi just kind of dying so another Rimi can take their place. Is this a new Rimi? Is that what happened? Rimi? Who's Rimi? Is it me? But I'm not Rimi. What are you saying? Snap out of it. Snap is incidentally the name of the achievement for unlocking Rimi's route. So, Snap, I believe she has. My name's... I don't know.
嘘でしょ。
You're kidding.
嘘だよね。
You're kidding, right? I pressed her for an answer. No, I'm not. Right when she said that, Rimi jumped into my arms and started clinging to me. She rubbed her cheeks against mine like some spoiled kid wanting attention. Having her so close to me and so suddenly at that, I started panicking. So this is just a straight-up new personality? So, who are you? Are you my friend? You gotta be. Friends are... Well, friends are people who are nice to me. You're not mad, are you? It makes me sad when people are mad. Also, pain makes me really sad too. I don't like it. She's got a different personality, it seems like already. Amnesia, or maybe even some form of age regression. No, that's my shtick. I thought this kind of thing only happened in eroge and hypnotherapy. I would have never even dreamed of actually running into a situation like this IRL. That was only a possibility. The sheer amount Rimi had freaked out when she'd killed Kazupi wasn't normal. And... all those who have become gigalomaniacs broke at some point in their lives. Yeah, we don't know Rimi's breaking point. We know, but Tako doesn't. Not Tako, Taku. Takumi. I remembered the late Senna's words, the late Senna. Rimi might have broken once again. She killed her own heart and mind. Suddenly those words came to mind. I couldn't quite remember where, but I had a feeling that someone had told me that before. If Rimi had killed her own mind from the shock of having killed Kazupi and Senna, and I was talking to an entirely new personality she had created, as I suspected, I could understand why she was acting like a child. DID, Dissociative Identity Disorder, also known as multiple personalities. You had accused me of having it. Obviously, I didn't have it, but maybe Rimi was suffering from it now. This was all just speculation, of course. What I did know, though, was that the childlike Rimi in front of me now was nothing like the Rimi I knew. She wasn't the same girl who told me she'd stay by my side, the girl who'd kindness and had developed me. She was completely different now. No. Yeah, I guess in a way, Rimi has died. Rimi is gone. And we have a new one. I fell to my knees on the spot. I was overwhelmed with despair. As Rimi clung to me playfully, she peered at my face curiously. Her eyes were so serene, so beautiful, purity overflowed from them. Purity that I couldn't stare back into. In a way, we were lucky that Senna and Kazupi's corpses had disappeared, but if Rimi was like this, who was supposed to protect me now? We have to educate her. Show her all your eroge. Rimi, not that I knew whether or not to even call her that, had genuinely lost all her memories. Or, I suppose you could say this Rimi didn't have memories at all. We now have a pet. What are we supposed to do with this? We need to take responsibility for this because Rimi doesn't actually have family or whatever. She's just Rimi. So, well, time to make you a spot to sleep in. Is that my name? Rimi? Yeah, it is. Sakihara Rimi. Sakihata Rimi. Oh, so that's what it is. From the way she talked, you wouldn't think we were talking about her literal name. And you are? What's your name? I'm Nishiju Takumi. Having to teach her something so basic like day one stuff was just... thinking about where this was going to lead just left me feeling even worse than before. Yeah, you're a dad now. I hate to break it to you. Nishiju Takumi. Hi, Taku! Well, she caught on to the nickname quick. Taku! It was the same. Her nickname for me was the same. Hey, Taku. My hands. They're all sticky. Yeah, maybe you should wash those. The dried blood on her hands clung to her skin. The dark red discoloration on her was Kazupi's blood, or at least it should have been. Her corpse had vanished, but her blood still remained. I don't like being all sticky. Rimi looked pretty sad as she stared at her hands. I was reminded of Kazupi's smile and was hit with a horrible ache in my chest. Trying my best to hold myself together, I got a wet towel ready for her. Here, show me your hands. When I told her that, Rimi timidly held out both of her hands. Using the towel, I started cleaning the blood off of them. Every time I glanced at it, the previously white towel got redder and redder. To make sure I got it all off, I had to scrub kind of hard. As I wiped away the blood, making sure to even get between her fingers. Haha, it tickles! Rimi laughed cheerfully. She must have had no idea why she had blood on her hands. Well, wasn't she fucking acting carefree? You know what? Clean them yourself. Why should I have to babysit you? But there was no way I could actually say that. Rimi had tried her best to protect me, and because of that, regardless of whether or not it had been intentional, she'd killed someone. And then her heart and mind had broken completely. So I couldn't just leave her to fend for herself. After all, I was also responsible for her being like this. There. They're all clean now. Oh, thank you! Arigato! Wow, my hands are all sparkly now. I feel all squeaky clean. She took my hands, intertwined her fingers with mine, then innocently shook them up and down. She seemed so happy, like she was a little kid. For some reason, her smile left me feeling wistful. Hey, Rimi? Will you protect me? That's a loaded question at this point. Protect? What am I protecting? Me. I don't really know what that means. But, since you're my friend, you'll be nice to me anyway, right? So, I'm glad you're here, being with me, Taku. Hee. That was everything but a yes. Yeah, it was no use. There's no point talking to her anymore. The Rimi who was supposed to protect me wasn't there anymore. I hung my head. Rimi wasn't supposed to be here. Where was her house? She needed to get home. I thought of reaching out to her family, but I couldn't find anything among her stuff with their contact information. Exactly. If I went to school, the teachers there would most likely know her address. Problem was, it was already fairly late, so I probably wouldn't be able to get in to ask. Actually, now that I thought about it, I didn't really know much about Rimi. Where did she live? How big was her family? When was her birthday? What was her favorite food? I didn't know anything about her, and because of that, there was nothing I could do for her. Taku! Taku! It's like taking care of a puppy. Rimi called my name as she pulled on the hem of my shirt. Hey, Taku! I'm hungry. What time was it? It was already dark outside and also dinner time. Unfortunately, I didn't have any spare food here. I would have to go buy something. What do you want to eat? Huh? Had she also forgotten about food due to her memory loss? Did she not know what different kinds of foods there were, what they tasted like? Oh, I know. I want to eat some soba. Soba? I like soba a lot. Soba is a kind of noodles. I sometimes put it in my stir fry if I can find some good stuff. You do? Yep. Why? Have you eaten it before? It's just soba noodles, dude. It's literally buckwheat. Have I eaten it before? Don't think so. But I like soba a whole lot. I don't know if I've eaten it before, but I love it. What was going on? Was she starting to regain her memories, or was her previous self's sense of taste the only thing she remembered? Well, it's just subconscious. If she enjoyed soba, she'll remember she enjoyed soba, even though she doesn't remember ever eating it, or when she's eaten it, or when she first had it. If she got her memories back, I'd be saved. For the time being, though, I had to go to the supermarket to buy some soba. Oh, I'm not sure you want her waiting here. Rimi, wait here. Don't leave this room no matter what, you hear me? I mean, you can technically literally lock her in. Bishi! Oh, we're the ones doing the Bishi now. Come on, Bishi back. Is she going to Bishi back, or is she going to wonder what we're doing? I tentatively struck the pose the previous Rimi had done all the time. I put one hand up against my head as if I was saluting her. Maybe this would make Rimi remember. That was my train of thought, at least, but...
Bishi?
Bishi? What's that? That's so cool. That's so weird. I'm going to start doing that from now on. Thanks for teaching me that. Bishi! She had no idea what I was doing. Her eyes were sparkling with curiosity, not recognition. So, incredibly embarrassed, I bolted out of the room. Well, this is a situation we found ourselves in. On the way to the supermarket, I checked to see if the police were around or not. Just as I thought, Senna and Kazupi's corpses had disappeared. If there were any police around, then it would be possible that there had been witnesses, but if there weren't, then that would mean no one had found them. In other words, we might have had some time before we were found out. Of course, I wasn't just wary of the police, but Shogun, too. He could show up completely out of nowhere at any time, so I paid extremely close attention to any shadows where he could have been lurking in. But what did happen to the corpses? Did we accidentally delude them away, or did someone else clean up? I still think it's possible Suwa might have come by to get his code. I think they already had Senna's, but Kazui's I can't remember. Thankfully, I didn't feel God's gaze at the moment, but even then I still didn't want to go out at night. The darkness scared me. When I walked through the deepest parts of that darkness, I could faintly see the scene of the dead Kazupi and Senna start to form. Their bodies, mutilated and disfigured, slowly took shape. I quickly averted my eyes and hurried to the supermarket, keeping my eyes trained on my feet. Where is this gonna go? Once I got back to my base, I got the portable stove and started boiling the water for the soba. My container didn't exactly have any form of ventilation, and there was flammable shit everywhere, so it was honestly pretty dangerous. Regardless, I went ahead and tossed the soba into the pot. Again, just noodles. Rimi was staring at the noodles with a spark of curiosity in her eyes. So that's how you make soba! I mean, you usually have it with something else, right? Kazupi's pool of blood was still there. I mean, I guess you sometimes just have noodles in a bowl. It was practically all dried up now, and since it was nighttime, it just looked like some weird black stain. I broke down all the empty cardboard boxes I'd piled up and set them over the top of it. I knew it wouldn't solve the problem, but I still didn't want to see it if I could help it. Taku! Taku! It's about to spill! Why would it spill? Is it boiling over, or are you messing with it? When I heard her say that, I went back to check the stove. It was boiling pretty intensely, and it was on the brink of overflowing, but instead of doing anything about it, she just kept saying, "Whoa!" Oh my goodness, she is useless. Lovely. This has got to be one of the eroges. You've just inherited some amnesiac pretty girl. This is some sort of isekai nonsense. Turn off the burner! Huh? Rimi tilted her head, then turned the dial on the stove the wrong way. Whoa! It's spilling everywhere! Wowie! Wowie my ass! I frantically pushed Rimi aside and turned off the burner. There was hot water everywhere. It shouldn't have really mattered. As long as it was edible, she shouldn't have cared too much about how it tasted or its texture. So I took the pot, drained the water from it, and immediately rinsed the soba noodles. Though it was worth noting that I'd only done so because the instructions told me to, not because I was some master soba chef. No, you are supposed to rinse them. I mean, it's not hard to make soba noodles. They're noodles. You boil them for 7 minutes or whatever. Do you like it hot or cold? Cold! I plopped the noodles into a bowl and poured it in the base I thought I'd bought as well. Ah, there we go. Add some stuff to it. All I had for toppings was some green onion. Hey, that'll do. I chopped it up to make a decent garnish, and then it was ready to go. You gonna put it in the fridge? I took Rimi back to my room in a hurry. I'd leave the cleaning for tomorrow when it was bright outside. But right now, I wanted to spend as little time as possible outside, especially since there was still the faint smell of blood out there. I felt as if Senna and Kazupi could show up even now. They'd be drenched in blood, and then they'd start walking toward me like zombies. Sure, that was more based in a cult than reality, but it still scared me nonetheless. Hey, Taku! Can I eat now? Can I? It's not cold yet. It was pretty clear that Rimi didn't have any of the intense worries I had. Actually, maybe it was precisely because of those things that she'd changed to an entirely new personality, in order to completely erase the memory of having killed people. Go ahead. It's not going to be cold, though. Yay! Thank you, Taku! She then grabbed the chopsticks like she's going to burn herself, isn't she? She was holding them like they were a fork, though. And instead of using them, she stuck her mouth on the edge of the bowl and started slurping up directly. Yeah, I don't care what anyone says. That's how a lolly eats, thank you very much. She must have even forgotten how to hold chopsticks correctly. She'd also forgotten how soba was made and how to turn off a simple stove. And yet she had remembered that it was polite to thank people for making stuff for you. Maybe that meant that her understanding of the world around her had regressed? I can't do it! Huh? I can't eat it! Why the hell not? Rimi was getting frustrated at her own inability to properly eat the soba. And I mean, considering how she was trying to go about it, of course she wouldn't be able to. Feed me! This is gonna get old quick. What did you just say? Was she for real? She was asking me to feed her? I felt like I was playing her babysitter at this point, or perhaps a dad. But having a daughter the same age as me, oh god, I didn't know if I could handle it. Hey, like Psy'Min Sezz, you are a dad now. Congratulations, it's a teenager. Taku! She pleaded with her puppy dog eyes, and since I couldn't really say no to those, I let out a sigh and gave in. Just get her a fork. Have her eat like a savage. Here. Say ah. Ah! Rimi took the soba I was holding out to her in her mouth and started chewing it with a smile on her face. She seemed to really like it. Alright, I guess they didn't wait for it to cool off. Hey, it's really yummy! Glad to hear it. Suddenly a thought crossed my mind. A laid-back, relaxing life with a 3D girl. That was definitely what I was looking for. Remember? Yeah. Think back to your eroge. A life with no overly dramatic, eroge-esque plot points. No, those are coming. Trust me. Not having to worry about the heroine's emotional baggage. Not having to worry about having feelings for each other, yet being too afraid to speak up. And not having to worry about getting dragged into a murder case. That may also happen yet. A life that you wouldn't find in books or video games, and yet I had a feeling that was what I really wanted. And that very life was actually unfolding right before my eyes. Not only that, but Rimi was here with me too. Being honest with myself, Rimi was cute. She also said she would protect me, and I too wanted to stay with her, forever if I could. But this was all fake. A lie. I mean, not really. She has technically lost all her memories, so I mean, what do you want? This life wouldn't last. And Rimi wasn't Rimi. I mean, she's still cute. Come on. Over time, our time would be far too short-lived, far too fleeting. The thought of it made me feel sad, wistful, and empty. Come back. I mean, this is a fresh start. You can look on the bright side. I still think bad things are coming because I know what game we're playing. But, yeah, Rimi's not coming back, sorry. You've only known Rimi for like a week, come on. She forcefully inserted herself into your class when you didn't even want her there. Rimi, come back, please. I couldn't help but whisper those words. You've got mail, ya big dum-dum. Shogun? I was taken by surprise. I'd heard Saratan's voice come from my PC. I just received an email from someone. Was it from Shogun? I had a bad feeling about this. This couldn't be good. I didn't want to look. Yeah, remember when I said bad things are coming? We don't have to wait long. Don't look at me. I felt the gaze. Someone was looking at me. It felt even more evident than usual. I looked around me, but there was no one besides me and Rimi in the room. My hand had stopped, and because of that, Rimi was fighting hard to try and wrestle the soba into her mouth. She wasn't looking at me, which meant that there was no one else it could have possibly been. I didn't even need to ask whose eyes are those eyes. Groaning, I headed for the PC and checked my inbox. Well, oh, it's actual Shogun. I'd only received one email, and the sender was, yeah, how are things going to unfold now that we've got a pet Rimi? Awaken, Shogun. Oh, shit. Kuso. What was he plotting now? Was he going to kidnap Rimi for real this time instead of just faking it? No. That was for real. Or maybe he was finally going to come and kill me directly once and for all. I mean, I guess Shogun kidnapped her hand. The fear made all my hair stand on end. The chills on the nape of my neck grew even stronger. I didn't feel any good, and my head was starting to hurt somewhat. Don't look at me. With trembling fingers, I clicked the mouse and opened the email. Wait. Oh, there's no body. It's literally just awaken. That's it. Shogun's just like, hey, dumbass, get your sword. Huh? There was nothing written in it. It was only the subject line, which read awaken. There was nothing written in the body. Awaken? What did he mean by that? Was he telling me to awaken as a gigalomaniac? You had to be fucking kidding me. I had a feeling he'd said something similar the first time we'd met. Actually, yes, he did. Stop fucking with me! Is scaring me that much goddamn fun for you? I was angry, but at the same time, I wanted to fend off the fear lurking deep within me. I hit the keyboard hard with my hands. What's that? Static came from the speakers. Had I clicked something by accident? Wake. Nope. Apparently Shogun has managed to put himself on speakerphone, which is impressive because this is not a phone. I'd heard something. Mixed in with all that static, I'd heard something. I hurriedly checked my PC. The MP3 player wasn't running, and there weren't any videos playing in my browser. I thought maybe Shogun's email had included some kind of virus, but there was no files attached to it. Again, I'd heard it again. It was getting hard to breathe. Drops of sweat ran down my forehead. Oh, I could just turn off the sound. If I did that, I'd stop hearing the extremely weird static. I opened the sound settings on the bottom right corner with the mouse. Then I checked the option to mute everything in the volume mixer. Once I did that, I wouldn't hear anything. I wouldn't have to listen to that static, nor anything resembling a voice within the static. I was extremely tired, freaked out. I'm surprised that worked. But of course I was. It had only been 2 hours since two people I knew had died right in front of me. Not to mention the weird stuff I'd seen at the hospital when I'd gone to visit Ayase, or the strange calls from Nanami. So I had to be just mishearing something amidst the static, right? What happened there? I thought I saw the screen change a little bit. Awaken. Why do we have a trolling folder? I just noticed that now. Takami's got an entire folder dedicated to trolling. Just trolling resources. A voice. There's no time left. That's what he was saying. A voice was coming from the speaker. Soon the third melt will occur. The speakers turned themselves back on? I'd clearly heard it. It was him. That had been Shogun's voice. The same voice that had talked to me at Scramble Crossing. Why? I muted it, didn't I? I know I did. Taku! What's a turd melt? What's a turd melt? I don't know. It's a meal you can get at McDonald's or whatever it's called. Rimi, acting just as she had for the past couple hours, tilted her head as she looked at me with innocent eyes. I came up close to her, grabbed her by the shoulders, and shook them. Don't you remember? Turd melt is your favorite food!
リミ、頼むよ。
Rimi, please, pull yourself together. You're gonna scare her. Don't do that. Ow! That hurts.
言ってくれ。僕を
Say it.
言ってくれよ。
Say you'll protect me.
僕は
I can't take this alone.
られない。このままじゃ
At this rate, he's gonna kill me. Don't hurt me.
僕は君を責め
I
ない
don't
から。
blame you for what happened.
君がいてくれないと困る。
But if you're not there for me, I'm done for.
だから
So please. I don't like pain. Uh-oh, she's gonna put you on her baddie list and then you're done for. Tears trickled down her face. I was scaring her. Every couple seconds her shoulders trembled. I slowly let go of her.
頼むよ。
Please,
目を覚まし
wake up. Well, remember how we said the third melt was happening soon? Yeah. Not blizzard soon, actually soon. The floor started shaking violently. An earthquake? It was bigger than the last one. Also, what's with the noises? That sounds like D-swords materializing. I was struck with a violent ringing in my ears. It was such an intensely shrill, resonant sound, my head felt like it was about to burst open. It felt like my ears were being pierced by thousands upon thousands of needles, as though my brain were being stirred into mush by a blender. And then... everything went white. I was hit by an enormous impact and a blinding light dyed my vision completely white. And this seems like a good place to stop it. Next time, we get into the finale of the Rimi route. How is she going to recover? What's she going to do? How's this going to play out? We've reached the third melt again. I will see you for the next episode. Take care.